Hello and welcome to the stream. Let me know your questions ahead of Game Week 6. It's only 1 hour and 40 minutes until the deadline. I actually have a plan to make a couple of transfers ahead of the deadline this game week, so. Joshua, good morning. Thanks for joining in. Elanga, he will be gone from my team ahead of the deadline. Probably Wirtz as well. Really tempted to bring in a Man United player and NGI from Everton. Would you take Rodgers out for a -4? I have no patience left in him. So I kind of get the idea of selling Rodgers, but the next couple of fixtures for Aston Villa, I know this sounds crazy, right? Keeping Rodgers because of the fixtures. They actually have had some pretty decent fixtures so far this season, but Rodgers, he will stay at least for me. And for a -4, I wouldn't necessarily sell him for a -4, to be honest. He will start, he will play close to 90 minutes, so I totally get the idea of selling Rodgers. Hasn't really delivered this season, but I will probably just keep Rodgers. And if it were free for a free transfer, I probably would have sold him, but selling Rodgers for a -4 is probably a no. Ed with calm voice, man. How are you doing? Just fine, just fine. Just logged on. Going to catch up with the latest news and make a couple of transfers. I will probably sell Elanga, and I'm really tempted to get rid of Wirtz as well. I have Rodgers, so Joshua, he is considering a -4 hit to sell Rodgers. I will probably just keep him. I like the fixture at home against Fulham, and they have a good fixture in game week 7 as well. So Rodgers, he will probably just sell. Are the Elanga to NGI and Wirtz to Mbumo confirmed transfers, and why haven't you done them yet? Seems straightforward, or what's on your mind? I'm leaning towards making those exact moves. I talked about it on the Q&A stream yesterday as well. So the only reason why I haven't done the moves is because I checked the price change sites yesterday, and none of the involved players were going to rise or drop in price. So I thought it was best just to wait and see if we get some news this morning as well. But Elanga and Wirtz to NGI and Mbumo will probably happen. This leaves me with exact funds to sell Chris Wood and bring in Gyökeres next game week. So if I go for Bruno Fernandes instead of Mbumo, I can't afford the Wood to Gyökeres in game week 7 move. Charlie, thanks for joining in. Hello. I'm really excited ahead of this game week as well. I've been saying this a lot this season. I got a red arrow in game week 5. Really disappointing, but I think that game week 6 will be a great game week. I will play my triple captainship. It's active. It's on Erling Haaland. He is confirmed to be fit. He has the best attacking stats in playing against Burnley with the worst defensive stats as well. So it makes sense, in my opinion, to just play the triple captain this game week if you own Erling Haaland. You think you can give my team a rate? Definitely. If you're interested, just go post a picture of your team if you want it on the screen. Just post a picture under my latest post on X. I will get your team up on the screen. Bruno Fernandes or Mbumo in for Palmer. I think both Bruno and Mbumo are good options. I would prefer having Bruno Fernandes, to be honest, but for my team, I might just go for Mbumo, and the reasoning is because he's a bit cheaper, so I can't afford Chris Wood to Gyökeres next game week if I go for Mbumo. But if I had more funds in the bank, I would probably go Bruno Fernandes. Shortly, get your teams up on the screen, guys. Charlie, free hit defense is so hard. I'm so unsure on every defense bar City. I would at least have one Spurs player, probably a differential, Udogi, something like that, on a free hit. Let's have a look at your teams as well. Oops. Not really sure what's going on. X is taking so long to load. Probably just... Lucas Hedgeman, hey, Richarlison, Bruno, and Njai, or Pedro, Mbumo, and Kudus. That's... all of them are really good options. I would probably go for the first option. I really like Richarlison this game week. We know that both Kulumwani and Solanke is out, so Richarlison, he will start up front, and you have two penalty takers in there as well with Bruno Fernandes and NGI, so probably the first one. Pope over Raya and Dubravka to Petrovic. I would actually prefer having Raya and Dubravka, to be honest, because you will cover the Arsenal defense with Raya, and you can only play one goalkeeper, so a rotation with goalkeepers hardly works. So having Dubravka only priced at 4 million on the bench makes sense at the moment. So I would probably just go Raya Dubravka. I can't really see any teams under the Game Week 6 deadline stream post on X. If you're interested, go post a picture of your team and I will get it up on the screen. This is Edwix FPL. Let's have a look. Let's see, Petrovic in goal with Dubravka. I think this is really good value considering the goalkeepers let you upgrade in other areas. Not spending too much on goalkeepers. You like the rank? Mm-hmm. Really good ranks for Edwix. Had a great start to the season. Ranked at top 6k. Edwix ranked. Let's just try to get this in the screen as well. So up in the left corner, you can see Edwix rank. He's ranked at 5,900. Really, really solid start. But let's take a look at the team as well. Petrovic, Dubravka in goal. As mentioned, really like this combination. Let you upgrade and spend more in your outfield players. Wolves defense. Not a big fan of Wolves defense, but let's see how it goes. Seeing that you don't have any Spurs attackers, so it can potentially work out this game week. Senesi. I like the Doku punt in midfield. I actually think that he is the Man City midfielder to go for after taking a closer look at the stats. But of course, Phil Foden is decent as well, but great differential. Rodgers is still in, and Mbumo is there, Phil Foden and Bruno Fernandes, and up front Watkins and Captain Erling Haaland. On the bench, Anderson. I think that this is a really good team. Can't really see clean sheets for Wolves and Sunderland, but maybe this is because I have Chris Wood and Kudus in my team. From Ange in the chat, sir, surely you have to start Anderson over Agbadu. I kind of agree, but seeing that Edwix have no Spurs attackers, it makes sense with this team actually to play the Wolves defender rather than Anderson. Yeah, Oba double wheel attack. I would probably do the same as Edwix, to be honest. Wouldn't like to have Anderson playing against my double up with both Rodgers and Watkins. You like the rank. It's a really good start to the season for this team. Some really good differentials in there. Triple up with the Man City attack with Doku, Phil Foden, Captain Erling Haaland. You have Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes. I will probably bring in Mbumo myself this game week. And of course, having a Sunderland defender can be a good differential this game week, but I'm really, really hoping that Chris Wood can deliver in game week 6. But a strong team. I think at Wix you are probably the highest ranked player that has joined the stream so far this season. I'm really hoping that this will be a good season for me as well. Haven't really had the best start. Terrible start in game week 1, good game week 2, 3, 4, but another red arrow for me in game week 5. Really hoping that game week 6 will be a big green arrow again. So when you're in the top 10k, it kind of, I know it's just a game, but I remember having this nervous feeling that so it's like if you're in the top 10k and you have a really, really bad game week, you can like drop 50k in one game week. So hopefully this will not happen with this team at Wix. So this is my team for game week 6. I have a couple of fires to put out in midfield. Elanga, Wirtz. I know a couple are considering to sell Rodgers as well. So my plan is to sell Elanga. Definitely will sell Elanga. Don't think he will start in game week 6. Elanga and probably Wirtz as well. I don't care about clean sheets. I'd rather take the 4 points and get a sick midfield. Yeah, I think this is a decent strategy this season. Having defenders, cheap defenders from teams that will sit back. They will receive a lot of DEFCON, so as long as they don't concede 4 goals, which will give a -2, this strategy can definitely work. Elanga and Wirtz to Phil Foden and Mbumo. I think that's doable, to be honest. Let's have a quick look. Can potentially sell Wirtz and Elanga to bring in Phil Foden and Mbumo. My only worry is that I have pre-planned to sell Chris Wood next game week. I will give him the game against Sunderland, but the plan is to sell Chris Wood and bring in Gyökeres next game week. So I can't afford the upgrade from Wood to Gyökeres if I bring in Phil Foden. Game of Xavi Simons, Doku, and Mbumo are my differentials this week. Fingers crossed. I will probably have Mbumo myself. Leaning towards having Mbumo. He's looked really good. He hasn't really been that great when we consider FPL points, but he's been ticking along and he has really good attacking stats as well. So I think that Mbumo is a good transfer in. So if I sell Chris Wood, I will only have 8.1 in the bank for replacement, Chris Wood replacement next game week. So this is why I'm leaning towards bringing in NGI. So if I go ahead with the plan to bring in Mbumo and NGI, it will give me 9.7 for a forward next game week, and Chris Wood to Gyökeres is the plan. So I think those moves are good. Foden and Mbumo in, but I will have to use 2 transfers in game week 7 to get Arsenal. So One hour and 24 minutes left. Let's take a look if there are some other teams on X. Edwig's move was to sell Cole Palmer to bring in Doku. I think this is a good transfer. Let's refresh this. I'm not sure why X is taking so long to refresh. Maybe it's my computer. So this is Wish Malhotra's team in the chat. Let's have a look. Raya and Dubravka. I think I would just go for Raya and Dubravka. I like this combination. You can just play Raya most game weeks and not having to worry about rotation, stuff like that. Double up in defense with Gabriel. Romero, I like Romero as well. He actually has been looking more threatening compared to Pedro Porro this season. And Pedro Porro is not taking that many set pieces as we expected in preseason. So saving the 0.5 and going for Romero, I would probably do this on a wildcard myself. Senesi, really good option. 4.8, still a good price for him. In midfield, Kyrgios, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, and Reinders. And up front, Holland, Joe Pedro, and Gyökeres. Josh King on the bench. I think this is a really solid team. It's really close to my team. I made a wildcard game week 6 video, and it's really close to this team. I can't really fault this team, and I hope that you will get a green arrow with this team going forward. Double up on Man City, triple up from Arsenal. Yeah, really solid. Just stick with Raya and Dubravka. That's my advice, but if you want to do something with the goalkeepers, of course, it's possible. But I would probably prefer having Raya and just keeping this team rather than going for Nick Pope. And she sent my team. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. I'm not really sure what's going on with X. So laggy. So let's start with the bench. Dubravka, King, Munoz on the bench, and Rodon. I think it makes sense benching Munoz even though he's 5.5. Picture can't be much tougher, so having Munoz on the bench makes sense for game week 6. And this is the team. In goal, Raya, Lacroix, Senesi, and Virgil van Dijk. Bruno Fernandes in midfield, Semenyo, Gakpo, Kyrgios, Mateta, Joe Pedro, and Holland. So I think, to be honest, I would probably go Munoz ahead of Lacroix. Triple Crystal Palace is not that tempting in game week 6, considering the fixture, of course, but seeing Mateta playing against Virgil van Dijk as well, they will most probably cancel each other out, but 2 players from Crystal Palace, 2 players from Liverpool. The main problem is I have 5 players from Liverpool and Palace who play each other. Yeah, I totally understand. This is something I'm always trying to avoid, but sometimes it's just impossible. So the problem is that they will most probably cancel each other out. So he won't have the perfect game week, but of course you can be lucky if Van Dijk he can get a goal, and Mateta of course can score as well. So this will give you points for both defenders and attackers playing against each other, but you don't really have the odds on your side, so I can't really see any other options with this team. I'm thinking about either Munoz to Gabriel benching Mateta, or maybe Gakpo to Phil Foden, or maybe Mateta and King to Foden. And I wouldn't necessarily think that using a transfer on King to Guhi, I don't think it's worth it. You still, with King, I think that you have the best possible bench fodder, so using a transfer on King to Guhi, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this move, but Gakpo to Phil Foden, definitely something to consider. I like the idea of selling Munoz to Gabriel as well, but benching Mateta, I think out of those options, probably Gakpo to Phil Foden is the best option. Let's take a quick look at the bench. You have Rodon on the bench, but he is playing against Semenyo, so not much help. I think it will be hard avoiding having an attacker playing against one of your defenders with this team, seeing you have 5 players in from the same fixture. Rodon playing against Semenyo. Okay. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Seeing that you have double Crystal Palace defense, Munoz to Gabriel would probably be... I would be really tempted to split up the double Crystal Palace defense by selling Munoz and bringing in Gabriel, especially considering the fixtures from game week 7 and onwards. King to Guhi, I wouldn't necessarily do that one, but Gakpo to Phil Foden, I like that one. Can potentially go with Doku as well. When is the next international break after game week 7? Yeah, correct. After game week 7. So between game week 7 and game week 8, there is a 2 weeks gap between the deadlines. Let's just... So the game week 7 deadline is on the 3rd of October, while game week 8 is the 18th of October. So 2 weeks between game week 7 and game week 8. I think there will be some wildcards played after game week 7 as well. I know game week 6 is a really popular game week for a wildcard, though. Been a lot of talk about wildcards over on X in the last days. Yeah, I need to get some more Arsenal assets, so I like getting Gabriel. Thank you for the help, man. I'll tune back in later. I think Arsenal, even though they don't have the best fixture for game week 6, so if you need to make a transfer, like with this double Palace defense, I think just getting Arsenal assets in for game week 6 makes sense. So if I were on a wildcard this game week, I would definitely bring in Arsenal assets. But with my team, I actually will wait until game week 7. This is why I will just restore Chris Wood in my team. I will just keep Chris Wood this game week. Playing at home against Sunderland, I can potentially get Gyökeres, but I will wait until game week 7. Okay, buying Arsenal and Chelsea after the international break. I think this is a really good idea. Both Arsenal and Chelsea will have good fixtures coming up, so I already have Sanchez and Joao Pedro. This is one of the reasons why I'm just keeping Sanchez. I am a bit tempted to sell Sanchez as well to bring in someone like Raya or Donnarumma to cover Arsenal and Man City defense, but I will probably just stick with Sanchez. Really good price. He's gone down to 4.9. The only worry is Maresca's comments about Sanchez not being able to play all games, but I'm really hoping that Jurgensen will play in the Carabao Cup and Sanchez playing the Premier League games. So on the screen, that's my team at the moment. I have Elanga and Viritz in my team, but NGI and Mbumo, really tempted to do those moves. Let's get a quick. So, anyone else considering playing their triple captain this game week? I have it activated. I'm feeling really confident that Erling Haaland will at least get 1 goal this game week. Top 3 anytime goal scorers, as you can see in the graphics. Haaland, season high 66% from the bookies for a Haaland goal against Burnley. So Richarlison is actually next in line with Alexander Isak third. I think this is probably the first time Mo Salah is not included in the top 3. Not really sure what's wrong with X today. Really laggy. Taking so long to load. Hmm. Everything is just loading. Let's check a couple of the FPL news sites on X to see if there are some news ahead of the deadline. 1 hour and 7 minutes left. I have a couple of transfers to make. What is going on? No big news so far this evening, considering team news, injuries, stuff like that. So something is, at least the microphone is working properly this stream, but something with the computer is so damn slow. The connection seems to be fine, but especially when joining X and the FPL page, things are taking so long. 1 hour and 5 minutes until the deadline. No team news yet. I have a couple of transfers to make. I will sell, definitely. I will sell Elanga. I will most probably sell Wirtz as well. I'm leaning towards a double transfer this game week. Game of good luck, everybody. Have to go to work. Best of luck and have a nice weekend. So if you haven't done so, please go check out my team selection video as well. I post a weekly team selection video. I also try to post a wildcard video ahead of each game week. So go check those out as well. That would be really appreciated. Helps with the watch time. please consider subscribing as well. I'm close to 3,050 subscribers, a really great number. So, Man City, the favorites for a clean sheet this game week. I think most of the teams playing against Burnley, they are high up on the bookies list for any time or for a clean sheet. So Man City, they are first, Spurs second for their home game against Wolves, and we have Nottingham Forest third with 41%. Man City is actually 55, quite high for a clean sheet prediction. Erling Haaland, he is the bookies anytime. Predicted goal scorer 66, and this is a season high percentage for Erling Haaland. First time Mo Salah is not included on the list. We have Haaland first, Richarlison second, and Alexander Isak third. No Mo Salah. One hour until the deadline. Let's take a quick look at the poll. 60% Wirtz to Mbumo, 40% both moves. I'm really leaning towards doing both moves, to be honest. Elanga and Wirtz out to bring in Mbumo and NGI. Of course, I'm tempted by Bruno Fernandes. My only problem with Bruno Fernandes is his price. So if I go with NGI and Bruno, I will not be able to afford Chris Wood to Gyökeres next game week. So this is the reasoning for going Mbumo rather than Bruno Fernandes. Ekitike close to 1 million transfers out. Palmer is second. It really makes sense selling Cole Palmer, especially seeing that he will miss a couple of game weeks, and at that price is a bit too expensive to carry on the bench. So if you have Cole Palmer in your team, he's definitely a sell. Erling Haaland, the most transferred in player, more than 1 million new owners ahead of the good fixture in game week 6 against Burnley. I think some of those transfers are managers wildcarding, changing from Mo Salah to Erling Haaland. Senesi is actually close to 1 million transfers in. We have Semenyo, 800,000 new owners for Antoine Semenyo. Makes sense. He's been delivering really consistently so far, but in my opinion, I actually think that Semenyo has been a bit lucky. Of course, did well against Liverpool in game week 1, but a couple of his assists have been a bit lucky. It's not like the assist has been that great, only like moving the ball and the goal scorer doing most of the work. So a bit luck with a couple of Semenyo's assists, but of course he has been really impressive so far this season. Totally nailed on. It was a bit surprising seeing that he took the penalty with Evan Nilsson on the pitch, but Kluivert, he is getting close to match fitness. I still think that Kluivert is the first choice penalty taker. So I'm not saying that Semenyo is a bad transfer, but I think it's probably a bit overhyped at the moment. And I think that he will revert to his mean. So like last season before that, Semenyo was that type of player that needed like 6 big chances for a goal. But at the same time, he was the player that hit the bar most times during the 24-25 season. So yeah, makes sense bringing in some. Bringing in Semenyo, but I'm leaning towards going for a bit more differential options, and NGI and Mbumo will probably be my transfers this game week. 57 minutes left. I might as well just do those moves. My computer has been a bit laggy. The internet connection is just fine. Hopefully the sound is fine as well, but something wrong with when I try to head over to X and refresh this page. Let's see what happens. It's taking so long. This is not how it should be and how it usually is. So I think I will just play it safe this game week and doing my transfers a bit early. Let's see, Jai in and Bumo in as well. I think Saka is a good transfer in this game week, taking a punt his own. Bruno or Phil Foden. If I already have Mbumo, I would probably go and take a punt on Phil Foden. Big differential. Looked good recently, so seeing you already have Mbumo, I would probably just go Phil Foden. Charlie, I'm gonna send through my draft. If you could rate it, definitely go ahead, post a picture of your team under my latest post on X, and I will get it up on the screen. Something wrong with, I'm not really sure what's wrong, but it's taking really long loading on X, but we'll make it happen. Still loading. I think probably it's better to just I need to go into the team. So on the bench, let's have a look. So those pictures are really good quality, but it's really hard fitting both the bench and the starting 11. So I'm starting with the bench, Dubravka, Nichols, King. A couple of players I've not seen that often. Pembele, is he a starter for Sunderland? Probably is. Probably is. And in the starting 11, Vicario, Ingle, Senesi, O'Reilly, and Keane, Semenyo, NGI, Mbumo, Phil Foden, and up front Erling Haaland, Joe Pedro, and Richarlison. It's a free hit, by the way. This is I like Keane on a free hit. To be honest, his attacking stats better than Tarkovsky so far this season. You have NGI double up from Everton, Semenyo, Senesi, Phil Foden, and Mbumo, front Erling Haaland, Joe Pedro, and I really like Richarlison. He is like the ultimate free hit player in my book. We know he will start. Both Kulumani and Solanke out injured, so Richarlison a really good option on a free hit. And I was like thinking at first when I saw the bench, Nichols would block an Arsenal spot, but seeing that this is a free hit, it's perfectly fine just picking the cheapest players. You have King, he's starting, so the bench is not that important on a free hit, so let's focus on the starting 11. O'Reilly will probably start, so a good option on free hits. I think he would be in my free hit as well. Semenyo, safe option. Captaining Erling Haaland makes sense this game week. Joe Pedro is kind of let's call it a shield pick this game week on a free hit. Can take some other punts up front, but I think this is a really good free hit team. You have like mixed some safe options like Erling Haaland, Joe Pedro, Semenyo, with some spicy differentials like Richarlison, Phil Foden, Keane, O'Reilly. So I really like this team, and if your differentials does well this game week, you will definitely get a green arrow for game week 6. I like this free hit. You have like targeted the fixtures as well. I would probably consider a double up on Spurs, but your midfield looks really good. But if you want to take a bit more risk, probably something like Semenyo to someone like Xavi Simons. But of course, this can backfire as well if Semenyo does well. Your rank can potentially take a hit, but I think that Spurs will do well against Wolves. They have not looked good defensively, so on a free hit, I would probably target that fixture a bit more. Maybe something like Senesi to Romero can be an option if you have 0.2 for that upgrade. But perfectly fine, not much to do to improve this free team, in my opinion. Really solid team, and hopefully you'll get a green arrow for game week 6. I will probably have a couple of those players, NGI and Mbumo. They are my planned transfers in this game week. I will have Haaland, Joao Pedro as well, and Haaland, he will probably be my triple captain. It's active at the moment. I have no plan to deactivate my triple captain, so hopefully at least those 4 players will return. I'm hoping for an Semenyo blank. He's one of my biggest threats this game week. So I actually have NGI and Mbumo in my team. It's not confirmed. I will probably just confirm those transfers right now. I have Viritz and Elanga in those spots, but appreciate the rating. If you could change one thing, what would you change? As mentioned, I think that on a free hit, I would try to target the Wolves fixture for Spurs a bit more. Wolves, they have been terrible, so having at least a couple of Spurs players can be a good idea on a wildcard. On a free hit, I'm sorry. Thank you, mate. I'm considering that Semenyo switch. It's just a mix, so it's a nice fixture, and Semenyo is like 50% owned, so he could ruin me if he does well. Yeah, that's the main worry with Semenyo. His ownership has gone up so much, so he's actually one of the biggest threats at the moment for my team as well. So I'm really hoping that Semenyo can stay quiet. Hopefully Kluivert will be back and play regularly soon, because it's kind of annoying that Semenyo is on penalties at the moment. But as mentioned, if you want to double up on Spurs, you can potentially bring in someone like Romero as well. If you want to keep Semenyo. But let's confirm those moves. Something fishy with my computer at the moment. Things are taking so long, so I think it makes sense to just confirm those moves. So that's it. My transfers confirmed. I'm gonna head off. Good luck this game week. I appreciate your advice, and I probably will do one of them 2 moves. Best of luck. Hopefully you'll have a great weekend, and hopefully the FPL will be a good watch as well. So thanks for joining in, and best of luck for game week 6, and have a nice weekend. Let's see if I can change this text. See if that worked. I tried to change the scrolling text at the bottom from my transfer plans with a question mark to confirm transfers. Let's see if that worked. Transfers confirmed Elanga and Wirtz to NGI and Bumo. Nice. I haven't really changed that text during a stream before, only before I start, so can probably just take away that question mark from the triple captain as well. And this can be a really great option to, like, if we get any team news, stuff like that, I just put it in the scrolling text. Nice to know. Question mark gone. Triple captain confirmed. So unless we get any team news from Man City, and I doubt we will at this point, 40 minutes left until the deadline. I doubt there will be any leaks or early team news this game week. So another positive with my transfer this game week is that I actually have a player in the early fixture this game week. I will have Mbumo. So it will be even more exciting watching the Brentford Man United game. So really, really excited for the games this weekend. I actually have some spare time this weekend as well, so I will try to watch Elanga and Wirtz. Spelling mistake in Wirtz. I just learned how to correct the text while streaming, so hopefully that's fixed. So I've done deadline streams like this and the Q&A for, like, I think it's 1 year with streams at this point, and I just learned today that I can change the scrolling text down at the bottom. During a stream. So earlier I thought I just had to wait until the next stream to fix it, but I can fix this live. really nice addition if we get any team news, things like that. I can just update the text. It will be harder to update the graphics, like the top transfers in, injuries, suspension, top 3, anytime goal scorer, and the watch lists. Bit harder to update this because it's made in Canva, so I need to like update the graphics in Canva and then download the new file and upload it into OBS. So that's a bit more job to change the graphics, but at least I can change the texts, the scrolling texts. So something new learned today as well. So let me know if you have any questions ahead of Game Week 6. And if you're interested in having your team reviewed, just head over to X and post a picture under my latest post, and I'll get your team up on the screen. Let's have a quick look over at X to see if there are some news ahead of the deadline. This was FPL Mitrovic's team. Really strong free hits. Hopefully this will lead to a green arrow. Something happening with my, I'm not sure if it's X or if it's my browser. I think it's my browser. The connection is fine, but probably something with my computer. Things are taking so long at the moment. Not really sure why, but Charlie FPL Meerkats locking in his team. Selling Wood this game week. Wirtz Salah as well to bring in Haaland, Bruno Fernandes, and NGI. Not sure about selling Chris Wood this game week, but it might work out. I'll make sure to take a screenshot of my updated team as well. So let's see if there are any team news. Teams likely to change. A lot of FPL managers locking in their teams. FPL Tom, GW6 Wildcard draft. Always nice graphics from FPL Wallow. Bench boost active with Petrovic, Diouf, Reinders, Senesi. Strong bench boosts. Just in, Joao Pedro only trained for the first time yesterday after his own fitness issues following Man United match last weekend, but this is expected to be fine for tomorrow. So some small doubts regarding Joao Pedro. I'd say small doubts. Considering Cole Palmer is out, I think Joao Pedro probably will start even if he's not 100% fit. So if you're considering captaining Joao Pedro, I would probably consider someone else, but I think Joao Pedro definitely will start this game week. So small doubts, but I think he'll start. Oh, it's taking so long. What is wrong? So no big team news yet. Just a lot of FPL managers locking in their FPL teams. It's only 30 minutes left. It's time to make those decisions. So let me know in the comments if you have any dilemmas or 50-50 decisions ahead of the deadline. My team is pretty much locked in. I will start the team on the screen. Hopefully Sanchez will start. Double up on Spurs defense with Van de Ven and Pedro Porro. Williams scored in game week 5. Hopefully he can replicate this in game week 6 against Sunderland. Mbumo and NGI. My transfers in this game week, I had Elanga and Virts in those positions, but made 2 transfers this game week, and Mbumo and NGI, they are in. Kudus in midfield, completing the triple up from Spurs, and I have Rodgers as well. Hasn't looked great so far this season, but hopefully he can do something in game week 6 or potentially in game week 7 when Aston Villa have a really good fixture. So Haaland, triple captain active, and I have Chris Wood and I have Joao Pedro. One of the reasons why I went Mbumo instead of Bruno Fernandes is the reason that I will sell Chris Wood next game week to bring in Gyökeres, and if I were to bring in Bruno Fernandes, I couldn't afford the Chris Wood to Gyökeres move next game week. So this is the reasoning for going with Mbumo. On my bench, I have the recently back from injury Ismail Assar, Rodon, and Shar, he is injured. So my plan is actually to bench boost in game week 8. So hopefully Fabian Schär will be back by then. Haaland with a record high prediction for anytime goal scorer ahead of game week 6, 66% given by the bookies for a Haaland goal against Burnley in game week 6. Man City, they're also the bookies' favorite for clean sheets with 55%. So bringing in City assets this game week makes sense, both defenders and players. Like, of course, if you don't have Erling Haaland, he should be a priority getting in. Other players like Doku, Phil Foden are really good options this game week as well. So Erling Haaland, one of the most transferred in players ahead of game week so far this season. I think that Grealish has the records, but Erling Haaland, he is transferred in by over 1 million FPL managers ahead of game week 6 as well. So Orange Apple, thanks for joining in. Morning. Start Murillo, Rodon, or Josh King. I think I would just, I know there has been some doubts regarding Murillo, but I definitely would start Murillo in game week 6. I think that he will start and play, or if he's not fit to play, he will probably not play at all. So I can't really see a sub appearance from Murillo. So just start Murillo and have, I would probably have Josh King first bench and Rodon after Josh King. Especially if you own Semenyo, it's owned by 50% of the managers. So especially if you have Semenyo, I would have Rodon last on my bench. And hey bro, I'm back. Do you think I bring in Gabriel for Munoz? It will leave me with only 0.2, which isn't enough for Gakpo to Foden 2. I think that Gabriel is the best option from the Arsenal defense, but I think that Gakpo to Phil Foden is a really good move. So could potentially consider something like Calafiori. What's the price difference? Is Saliba, is he the same price as... Let's have a quick look. Saliba, 6 million. And Gabriel, 6.1. So, you're still 0.1. Funds if you go for Saliba. That could have been an option, going Saliba and Phil Foden in. But I think that Gakpo will start game week 6. So I would probably just do the Munoz to Gabriel move. Calafiori means risk at all, do you think? I definitely like Gabriel compared to Calafiori, and as mentioned by yourself, the minutes, I don't see Calafiori starting every Premier League game, so I think for your team the best option is to actually just do Munoz to Gabriel and play Gakpo this game week and wait and see what happens ahead of game week 7. That's probably what I would have done at least. You can of course consider something like selling Mateta as well. Mateta to Richarlison could be an option as well. I actually had a dream last night. Phil Foden scored a brace, but this could very well happen. I think that Phil Foden will start Pep said in the press conference that Phil Foden was in really, really good form at the moment, looking really sharp in training as well. And Phil Foden had a desire to play every game, even though the fixtures are kind of congested for Man City, seeing that they play both in the Champions League and the Carabao Cup together with the Premier League. So Phil Foden is feeling really sharp at the moment, and we know about his qualities. We saw this especially in the 23-24 season. If Phil Foden can get a string of games, get into the rhythm, he is a really good FPL option as well. So I can see the temptation of going for Phil Foden, but Abdullah Ali, do you think Doku captain is too risky? I think Doku is a great punt this game week. I think that Man City will score at least 3 goals against Burnley, and of course most players who will captain Erling Haaland, his effective ownership will be well above 100% effective ownership, but Doku, he will most probably be involved. He can score, and he will most probably get a couple of assists if Erling Haaland scores. So Doku is a good punt for game week 6 in my opinion. Mason, who should I take Wirtz out for? So my transfers this game week, I've actually made 2 transfers this game week, and I sold Wirtz myself. I brought in Mbumo and NGI. I sold Wirtz and Elanga. I think both Mbumo and Elanga are really good options this game week. My preferred Man United midfielder would have been Bruno Fernandes, but this would not leave me with enough in the bank to do Chris Wood to Gyökeres next game week. So this is the reasoning for going Mbumo, but I still think that Mbumo is a really, really good option. Decent fixtures for Man United coming up, really good stats, Mbumo. So Virtu Mbumo would probably be my answer. I like Doku this game week as well, as mentioned with Abdullah Ali, and I like Phil Foden. So a lot of good options at this price point this game week. So what about Wood? Should he start over Pedro? I think if you have both Chris Wood and Joe Pedro, I think that in game week 6 both of them should start. I already have Bruno Fernandes. Should I also punt on Mbumo? Seeing that you already have Bruno Fernandes, I would probably take a punt on Phil Foden for game week 6. I think you have really, really strong attacking 8 if you're considering benching Chris Wood or Joao Pedro this game week, both with home fixtures. Chris Wood against Sunderland, he's on penalties. He was rested midweek, so I think that Chris Wood is a good option for game week 6. Joao Pedro has been carrying a small injury, only trained 1 session for Chelsea, but I think that he will start, so I would try to find a way to start both Chris Wood and Joao Pedro for game week 6. FPL Lisa, hi, thanks for joining in. Only 17 minutes left until the deadline. So something with my computer, I'm not really sure, but it's really, really slow. Let's take a look at how it looks on X. When I update this, it's still really laggy. Probably a bit better compared to 30 minutes ago. Let's have a quick look to see if there are any news. Sam C reports West Ham confirmed that head coach Graham Potter has left the club. That's strange timing. Pellis, I couldn't wake up. At least you didn't miss the deadline. Still 15 minutes left. I learned something new today. I can actually change the scrolling text at the bottom, so I will try this live. Let's see if I can just add a sentence down here. Let's see if that worked. Transfers confirmed Alanga and Wirtz to NGI and Mbumo. I did this 15 minutes ago. Game week 6 captain, Haaland, triple captain is active. Let's see if the Potter news gets into the scrolling text. Ange, what do you think of Mateta and Gakpo and Munoz to Richarlison, Foden and Gabriel? Will require all 3 free transfers. I think I was thinking about something like this, including Mateta in the equation. I think this sets you up well going forward. You will have an Arsenal player. They have really good fixtures from game week 7. Phil Foden as well. It can potentially be a great move for game week 6. Richarlison is more of a short-term player, of course, but I think that he is a good transfer in. I don't really see Solanke when he's back fit. I don't really see Solanke just taking Richarlison's place. We have to remember that Richarlison, he is actually Brazil's number 9. He has been injured a lot, but at the moment he's fit. He's starting for Spurs, so I think that Richarlison is a good transfer in. I really like those moves: Mateta, Gakpo, Munoz to Richarlison, Phil Foden, and Gabriel is a yes from me. We have to consider that Gakpo at some point he will see rotation when both Alexander Isak and Ekitike is fit. I think that they will struggle to play both Alexander Isak, Ekitike, Mo Salah, and Gakpo. So I think there will be rotation for Liverpool as well. So as mentioned, I think Gakpo will start this game week, but going forward there will potentially be rotation for Gakpo. So it's a yes from me. Let's see if I can. 12 minutes left. But as mentioned, Ange, yes, go ahead. Really good moves ahead of game week 6, in my opinion. Mateta, Gakpo, Munoz, Richarlison, Foden, and Gabriel. I think that the timing for Potter to be sacked at West Ham, really, really strange decision. I'm even more confident in my transfer in this game week, NGI. He will start for Everton. He is on penalties. But hopefully West Ham don't have that new manager bounce in game week 6. That would be typical, but seeing that the news came out this morning, the new guy will not have had much time to influence the West Ham team, so give me a minute. So as mentioned, really strange timing with the sacking of Graham Potter, but hopefully NGI can do well against West Ham. So my transfers this game week, I sold Wirtz and I sold Elanga to bring in NGI and Mbumo. Really excited for the Man United game. I will have Mbumo in that picture, so really looking forward to that one. 9 minutes until the deadline. Should I transfer out Ekitike? I think that Ekitike, that his time is up, considering that Alexander Isak is getting close to match fitness. So I think this, and considering the red card, that this is a good game week for selling Ekitike. But if you have a strong starting 11, I think this transfer can potentially wait a game week as well. So, but having a player with, I think that Ekitike is probably a sell this game week, to be honest. So the natural replacement is probably Gyökeres for most teams targeting the Arsenal fixtures coming up, but they don't have the best fixture in game week 6, playing away against Newcastle at St James's Park. But my plan is to sell Chris Wood next game week to bring in Gyökeres myself. Munoz, 2 Guardiola, 3 Senesi, Anderson, Van de Ven. Yes, I would, if you have enough funds and if you have a spare free transfer, Munoz to Guardiola, it's a really good move this game week. So it's a yes from me. I already have Gyökeres. Maybe taking a punt on someone like Richarlison this game week can be a really good game week for Richarlison. We know he'll start. The other forwards, they are injured, both Kulu Muani and Solanke. Maybe Ekitike to Richarlison can be a good move in game week 6. those two, Guardiola, Senesi, Anderson, Van de Ven. I would probably bench Anderson, I think, and really hope. Let's have a quick look. It's not like Villa have impressed us going forward so far this season. Only scored 1 goal against Bologna, Italian team as well. So of course Anderson can actually pick up a clean sheet. He will most probably get defensive contribution points, but I can see Aston Villa scoring against Guardiola and probably bench Anderson. Jeff Jones, bench 1, Gabriel, Van de Ven, and Gyökeres. So, considering the fixture, Van de Ven, definitely the best fixture playing at home against Wolves. I would probably, even though he is the cheapest player out of the 3, I would probably just play the fixture and start Van de Ven. I would start Gyökeres as well on penalties for Arsenal. Newcastle have been solid defensively, but I think that Arsenal can score against anyone. So you would feel really bad if you have Gyökeres on your bench if he scores. So probably Gabriel on the bench in your situation. I'm going to do it. Ekitike to Richarlison. I really like it. We know Ekitike. He will not play in game week 6. On his slot, he was kind of pissed at Ekitike for taking his shirt off, making the goal. The quote was like, "You can't make the goal all about yourself," something like that. Virat Kohli, Saka versus Gyökeres. Ooh, I think it's kind of team dependent. The thing I really like about Gyökeres, and one of the reasons why I will bring Gyökeres in next game week, is the fact that he is confirmed to be on penalties. But Saka, really low ownership. Saka is actually owned by below 5% of the managers. So I really like the differential aspect when it comes to Saka, but I really like the penalties for Gyökeres. So it's really, really close. So I think it's kind of depends on if you need a midfielder or if you need a forward. Chris Wood versus Strand Larsen. Chris Wood for game week 6, but from game week 7 and onwards, I actually prefer Strand Larsen. Sandri, I'm playing Caicedo in for Gyökeres. It's a 4 versus 2 points head start. Go for it. You talked about this yesterday as well. So if you think that Caicedo will do well, go ahead. So the thing with Caicedo and those DEFCON midfielders is that, of course, they can score as well. So if they get an attacking return and if they get DEFCON, it will be a really good game week. Play Anderson or Mateta. I will probably play Mateta, even though the fixture is really hard playing against Liverpool, but it will be more exciting to watch the game as well. Mateta, he will play close to 90 minutes. Sarr is back. There will be more crosses with Sarr in the team. Mateta on penalties. Anderson can potentially pick up DEFCON points, but I think that Aston Villa will score against Fulham, so I would start Mateta ahead of Anderson. Ooh, close to the deadline, 1 minute and 50 seconds left. FPL Lisa, have you made the transfer Ekitike to Richarlison? I really like it. Chris Wood versus Strand Larsen. If it's on a wildcard, I would actually just go Strand Larsen. If it's a free hit, I would go Chris Wood, and I wouldn't consider transferring Chris Wood in at this point, but I have Chris Wood in my team. I've had him since game week 3, so I'm just keeping Chris Wood this game week, considering that he has a decent fixture playing at home against Sunderland, while my replacement next game week, Gyökeres, he has a tough fixture playing away against Newcastle. So my transfers this game week, I've sold Elanga, I've sold Wirtz to bring in NGI and Mbumo. The reason for going Mbumo and not Bruno Fernandes is if I went for Bruno Fernandes, I wouldn't have enough funds to do Chris Wood to Gyökeres next game week. So FPL Lisa confirmed, sold Ekitiki to bring in Richarlison. I haven't used my triple captain. My triple captain is active this game week. Erling Haaland against Burnley. So it makes sense. The best attacking stats playing against the worst defensive team stats. So hopefully Haaland can do something against Burnley. 20 seconds left until the deadline. Make sure to lock. Got some interesting news this morning about Joe Pedro not training all week for Chelsea. I didn't really know this, but hopefully Joe Pedro will start. Graham Potter got sacked from his role at West Ham this morning. It will be really, really interesting to see how this affects West Ham this game week playing against Everton. Everton players really, really popular in FPL. NGI, Tarkovsky. I'm so worried about Haaland. I think that it's a really good game week for Haaland. He has been training in the last couple of sessions for Man City, so he might actually be rested early, like play 60, 70 minutes. But I think it's a good game week for Erling Haaland. I have to go. Thanks all for joining in. Hopefully you'll get green arrows this game week, and hopefully you will have a nice weekend as well. Let's see. Good luck, everyone. Best of luck. I ended up doing Munoz and King to Reinders and Romero. Rush decision. I don't know if it's good. I think it's good. As mentioned earlier, I think that the King transfer is kind of a waste because I really like King. Keeps you away from benching headaches, stuff like that. But Reinders a really good option for game week 6. So short term, this can potentially give you more FPL points, and in the end, that's what it's all about. So Munoz and King to Reinders and Romero. I think both Reinders and Romero have the potential to do really, really well in game week 6. I did the same thing. Reinders and Guardiola, really good options, especially considering Man City's fixtures going forward. I will look at some potential routes to get into the Man City defense myself. I've looked into selling Sanchez to bring in Donnarumma. I will potentially do something with Joao Pedro. So ahead of game week 7, early thoughts: Chris Wood to Gyökeres and Pedro Porro to Guardiola can potentially be my transfers. But if you're interested, go check out my team selection videos. It's really, really appreciated and helps boost the watch time on the channel. So That would be really, really appreciated, as mentioned. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I have to go. I will have a weekly Q&A, and when I find the time like today, I have deadline streams as well. So really, really appreciate all the support. Thanks for joining in. Best of luck for Game Week 6 and have a nice weekend.